Fellow targeted individuals. I want to share a few things which have been on my mind. And I've been reluctant to make this video because of the situation in the government where people which voice their opinions are being labeled as being anti-government because they do not support what a certain agency is doing. It could be a policy. It could be targeting soccer moms. It could be targeting conservatives. Now, in many high-profile cases involving domestic terrorism, what we see is that the CIA has been involved and the FBI have been involved. I believe there's a lot of different things which occur in a lot of these terrorism cases that we're never going to know about. So, I was doing some research on Omar Mateen, and Omar Mateen committed one of the worst mass shootings in our nation's history. But what many people don't know is that this guy was being harassed at school. He was being harassed at work. Could his father's affiliations with the Central Intelligence Agency led to what occurred? I don't know. But I do know this, is that this organization called GS4 is a CIA partner. And when I was in Texas, they were harassing me at doctor's offices, where I shop, etc. So what the enemy wants to do is they want to instill in the person rage. It could take, for some people, a couple times and they just lash out. For some people, it could be years, decades. For some, never. But what the CIA does is they try to enrage the target. They want to also push the target into a state of isolation, which will lead to alcoholism for some targets. That's not the case for me, but I have noted that when I have looked at a lot of cases concerning gang stalking and other means of torture. So the target is left in an isolated situation where in many cities and towns, partners are informed this person is a problem. So when the target seeks help, they're left in a situation where they're isolated. You will also notice that a lot of these people that are doing this gang stalking and community mobbing supposedly are pro-American. They love their country. They'll have a flag outside their home, and they'll be the first ones to do this. It's important that we understand what the definition of domestic terrorism is. Because when you're a targeted individual and you are a part of the TI community and you're seeking help to be denied help by federal agencies, and you're hearing about people in our groups at times committing suicides, committing mass shootings, lashing out, saying enough, well, we need to understand that what these people are doing is unethical. We have to say no to violence. We also have to say no to active shooter threats. And what I mean by active shooter threats is not just a shooter that's going out committing a shooting or could potentially commit a shooting. I'm talking about those which instigate creating a problem, creating the necessary conditions to facilitate a mass shooting on U.S. soil. So I have located in the past sheriffs supporting this, select members of sheriff's associations, the Central Intelligence Agency. So imagine right now you live in, let me just make up a name, Winter Garden, Florida. And 3 miles away in Winter Garden is a business called CIA Cleaning Service. It's a foreign registered business when it's only a one-man show. And then down the road from the police department, then you may see a dark web monitoring service. Then down the road, you may have a business here that works with the CIA and has 300 8A business vendors. They could contract, subcontract. And these business vendors have over 5,000 other people they could subcontract to. The Masons. You have lodges that are in small towns with 900 members. A lot of people don't go every week. So before you know it, they have their friends, their family, other business owners, stakeholders, and they're rotating. Some lodges are totally in the dark about this. There are some on the far left that are doing this, on the left-hand path, and there's some which is only 2 or 3 members in an entire lodge. Let me put my AC on. So this activity has been linked to mass shootings, and the Central Intelligence Agency is not only aware of it, it supports it. The first time I had an encounter with the CIA at a school, they didn't have this sticker on their side door. They had it on the very back of a black SUV with dark tinted windows. And the men all wore suits, thin black ties, and they wore black shades, similar to how some FBI agents may dress sometimes. Now, while the Central Intelligence Agency does support domestic terrorism against the United States government at times, it has immunity. And they also network with the military. You may also find yourself being harassed in stores. This is no joke. In Texas, I was harassed every other day for years when I bought groceries. And you may notice the person gets behind you and they grab the same exact items. So let's say you grab a purple or blue toothbrush, and then you go down to the dip aisle and get a certain salmon dip, and then you get a certain cheese. And then when you get in line, they have the same exact things. And then you may notice this pattern every single time. This can occur for years. It doesn't occur to all targets. It does occur to some. The FBI will also do it with the CIA at times. In Texas, it was very common. They may also harass you systematically prior to eating your food, while eating your food, and while exiting. They may tell the waiter, hey, go to the guy's table, and every time you pass by, go, psst, psst. You could be sitting at a park like I am right now. They could just come right in front of your car at 60 miles an hour, dirt flying everywhere, and they go back out. And then you might see a car minutes later behind your vehicle, and they'll have a U.S. government tag or no tag at all. So they make their presence known. This is not an investigation. What you need to understand is if you are a targeted individual, this is not an investigation. If it's been occurring for years, it's these people. Some of them believe in this vendetta justice, like there's another term for it. It's a vendetta they have against you. They want to try to destroy you, and they've turned this into a business model. So they harass people at times when they're having special moments. This can be when you're dealing with relatives from out of town that you haven't seen in 8 years. And I've had it happen multiple times where they're coming with police and their hands are on their guns. And everyone's looking around like, oh my God, what's going on? And then they'll say, he's just eating food. And the people doing this wore suits. So the Central Intelligence Agency also will target people on the beach when they're going to on a flight. They may change your seats, sit with you and mock you, put a little two kids between you on each side, or put you with two fat people and the whole plane is empty and your seat is changed. They want to make sure that your life isn't pleasant, and they want to disrupt your life, intervene in your life by harassing you systematically. You can go to a gas station at one time. Every time I went to this place to buy lotto, it didn't matter what day. I never went the same time. So if I went one day at 5:30, the next day I would go at 11:12, or 5 days later at 3:18. I'd make up a time and get there on time. And the same lady would show up with a Jewish star on her car. She was Jewish. And she had a Florida Sheriff's Association sticker on her car. So sheriffs at times, not all of them, and sometimes it's not even people from your area that are behind this, but people which, oh, one second, I got out here, that live in a different county. And what they may do is receive a contract. See, a lot of sheriff's associations, they're essentially defense contractors. They want a contract from your local town or city, FBI, CIA, and that's why a lot of times when targets are harassed, they have no idea that down the road, it could be 1,000 yards away. If there's some visibility, you may notice a police car being lined up perfectly with your vehicle because they are watching. They know that what these agent provocators are doing leads to violence and mass shootings. So what they're doing is they're actually participants. So the Central Intelligence Agency does not only support terrorism, it funds it and promotes it. So some of the people which are shot in some of these shootings at times are actually people that were supporting this. See, when people go out to eat or go to the beach, they're trying to enjoy the moment. When they're going to school, they're trying to improve their lives. Well, the terrorist cells, their thing is, how can we promote terrorism so we can get some more money? So we're dealing with, in a sense, with political extremists. Now,